Hello and welcome to Can Do Conversations. I am Cheryl Williams, the Can Do Mom.
I'm CJ Williams, the Can Do Dad. Thank you for being here.
Welcome, guys. It's awesome to have you here with us today.
Yes, welcome.
Yes. We've got a great topic. We know that we are in the middle of the holiday season,
Yes,
right?
we
Lots
are.
of hustle, lots of bustle. Hopefully lots of fun and intention, as
Yes.
well, and creating memories and
Yes, and getting your shopping done.
early.
We've learned that.
We've got, I think, all of ours pretty much done. We're just
Do you remember one
got the
year
list.
we just went wild and it was like the February or March and we got all the presents.
we did. We went because
We went shopping.
when you have your list of who you need to shop for, at least the majority of the people, there
know
might be
what
some
they
people
want.
that come up, down the
Yes.
down the line, but most of the time we have our list and it's like, okay, let's get it, let's find, and we found unique gifts for
Yes,
everybody.
even
and-
my parents. I drove to Philly. We were in Philly and I was like, look what I have.
yeah, here you go.
Middle of the year.
I think it was like June or
And don't
July.
open it.
Sit that in your closet until December.
Matter of fact,
please.
you almost forgot about it.
Yeah, that's how long they were there. But we have these last few years. It's normally around Thanksgiving time is when
Yes,
we get
go
everyone
shopping.
their gifts, and that way it's done and doesn't take up so much
Forever.
of the time, and you can focus on other things. So hopefully your shopping is going well and it's not overwhelming.
pocketbook?
Well, it's going to do that. But
Yeah.
he's got to make more money, right? You got to expand the wallet so that you can give more, right? This is the season of giving, and so hopefully you have lots to give this year.
Yes.
All right. So today's topic is about you and how you
All about you.
are the common denominator of everything going on around you.
Right.
And
Where you are at the present moment.
Correct. And even things that have happened in the past or things that have transpired, maybe you like to do the blame game where it's like, well, this person did that or this person did this or they did me wrong or
But it was your choices.
but it's also like when you have a pattern going through your life, you're always in the story, right? And so no matter what's going on, you're the nucleus, you're the center point of everything that's going on. Same thing for, for anybody. It's you are the common denominator in that because no matter where you go, there you are, right? And so you keep continuing on with you. And so if you're seeing patterns or if you're seeing things that it's easy to say, well, I didn't do this because of this or this happened so I did that, instead of taking full 100%
Yes.
responsibility, you're playing the victim.
Even for dating. How come I always wound up with the same guy or the same girl? It's because you trained, that's what you trained for. You trained that person. Your energy went towards that person because that's what you were comfortable with. That's what you're used to doing instead of changing that.
And maybe your picker is off, you know what I mean? So you might need, and like you said, the energy that you're putting off,
Yes.
the vibe, but also what you expect, you tend to
get back.
And so if you're expecting a certain result, you're going to get that most of the time, right?
Yes.
Because what we expect tends to occur and show up repeatedly. And so it's time to take we're nearing the end of the year and a lot of people have closed up shop and it's like, okay, we're going to head into 2024 and I'll address it then. But we've been saying for the last couple months now, you still have days, you still have time. Who knows? You might not even make it to 2024. So all you have is the here and the now. Today, this very moment. Maybe you don't get tonight because not everybody does, right?
Yep.
And so planning out, we need to have plans, we have goals, we have dreams, we have things that we're aiming for and going after, but we also need to be in the present. Right here, right now, and focusing in on what can you do? How can you change? How can you shift? And start looking at and taking a good hard look at your patterns.
Right. Looking inside of yourself. What things do you need to change? Because you do the same thing every year. And then a year before that, year before that, and year before that.
And the results that you're getting are based on the actions that you're taking. And so if you're not liking the results, well, you have to look back and say, okay, what are the actions that I've taken over the last 3
Yes.
months, 6 months, 9 months, this last year, or the last 3 or 5 years to get you to where you are. And so if you don't like that, or you don't, and I guess we have to caveat this, is like you can be blissfully dissatisfied, right? You can still appreciate where you
Enjoying
are
life.
right now and still want to go for more, right? We're happy, like we're happy with where we are now. However, we know this is not the end. This is just the beginning. It's time to, another chapter. It's time to write a new
beginning.
story. It's time to keep pushing because yes, we're healthy, and yes, we have wonderful children, and yes, we have a home that we live in, and yes, we have acreage that we live on, and we have a business, and we have relationships, and we have all these. So it's a list of things that you can be thankful and grateful for all the time, right? And yet that does not mean that you have to then stay in that position
And
or
stop.
stay in that scenario. You can still push and go for more, but you also have to look at your patterns, because patterns repeat themselves. That's why they're a pattern, right? It continues to happen over and over again. And yesterday I was taking a look at my book basically that I have, and I write down, what my power list is, or what my top 5, or what I'm focusing on, what am I thankful and grateful for, what are the goals and things that we're working on. And so I write those things down, right? And I was looking at the beginning of last year and kind of just getting a sense, this is a good time of year to reflect, right? It's a good time of year to kind of look at where are we and how are we going to be moving forward? What are we going to do differently? What are the changes or the shifts or things that we need to do so that we do head into 2024 full steam ahead, right? We're not waiting to 2024 to do that.
I think that's a must. To reflect, to go back in your notes, go back and take that journey to figure out what you've been doing throughout the year to easily make those changes for the future. Because then you'll know. You know with your own patterns because you wrote them down. If you don't write them down, you know the things that you went for in your past, or what you wanted in the future, and if you got closer to that or not, then you know what changes you need to make.
And you could evaluate, okay, these were the things last year about this time, right, that I was working towards. How many of those things did I accomplish? What were the things that I was working on, the actions that I was putting in, and did those things get me closer to where I want to go? Did they move the needle? Is it where I want it to be? And so I was reflecting on these things, and I was like, you know what? I can look now, right, hindsight being 2020, looking and say, okay, well, this year, going forward, starting here and now, moving into 2024, there's a few things that I want to tweak and to change to get a different result, to get a different action, right?
I think people should do that more often. Instead of waiting for a year to pass, almost a new year, go ahead maybe monthly, go back in your notes, go back in your tasks, what you were supposed to do daily, weekly, monthly. But every month, take a look to figure out if you need to make that tweak early enough before the next month starts. So you can already be ahead of yourself.
Right. And that's why we always talk about 90 days, right? 90 days is tangible enough that you can see it, right? It's 3 months, it's 12 weeks, it's right here, right now. We're not waiting until next December or the next following year. It's like, okay, so what am I doing? What are the actions that I'm taking? But at the end of the day, what is the end result that you want to see have happen in 90 days? 90 days is enough time. It's enough time to see a result, whether that's, in your mindset. Are you wanting to change and maybe, work on that some? Are you wanting to change your body? Are you wanting to change your relationships? Are you wanting to change your finances? Are you wanting to change where you live? Are you wanting to change your routines? Are you wanting to change the job that you're at? 90 days is plenty long to work backwards and figure out, okay, these are the things, this is where I want to be in 90 days. Here's the steps I need to take to get there. But the pivotal moment is you have to take the steps, and you can't just go through the motions. No. And that's what I was seeing. Not that I was going through the motions, but I was like, okay, these things here
weren't getting you
at the
where
point,
you wanted to go.
At that time, right, it was moving where I needed it to go. However, I can look back now and say it actually wasn't moving the needle enough to get the result that I was wanting in the time frame that I was wanting, right?
Or it could be going in the wrong direction. It seems like you're going, okay, I got these things done, but was it going to the right direction? Maybe it wasn't. So you just have to make that little pivot to make sure you're going further ahead than you need to.
And I know in the past, I've been someone that overthinks things. Like, I want my list, and then I want it all laid out. It's like, okay, what are the steps I'm gonna take before you actually take that flying leap, right? Versus now, it's more like flying leap, and we're gonna figure it out as we're free falling down, because normally if you're losing time, you're losing speed, you're losing momentum, if you stop every time and say, okay, let's stop.
Reevaluate.
Let's figure this out. Let's make sure we have, if this happens, we're going to do this. And if this happens, we're going to do that. And like all of these contingencies.
Overly prepared.
Right. It's like you're over preparing for all the what ifs versus just jumping all in and saying, you know what, I'll handle that as it comes. Because a lot of times it doesn't even come.
That's a lot of mental energy.
It is expended.
Wasted on something like that instead of being more focused and just going forwards.
And it can be looked at, it was like, well, you're prepared, or you're getting it all figured out before, and it's like, yes, however, a lot of times that is just inaction, right? It's procrastination jazzed up and glitz and glam and it's supposed to look pretty. It's like, you're prepared. It's like, but did you do anything? It's like, no. Okay.
No.
Well then
and you spent all that time.
You just procrastinated. Let's talk about what it is. It's procrastination. And so if you're looking at it and being true to yourself and being honest, right? This is an honest conversation with you.
Yes.
Okay.
That means looking in the mirror, having the mirror, somebody putting it in your face.
Well, no.
Because you're not going to want to look at yourself, because that's where you're not going to head towards the mirror to look at yourself.
Well, and the conversation we're having right now is
that's hard
no
for
one
certain
is doing
people.
any of this for you or to you. This is you stepping up and taking 100% ownership of who you are, where you are, what you're doing, and the steps that you've taken to get you there. We're not saying one's good and one's bad. We're not saying it's positive or negative. We're dealing with what is, right? And what is the reality of where you're at.
And it's okay to stop, full stop at that moment to make the change or the pivot at that moment because you're headed in the wrong direction. But just don't take too long. Make your change as soon as you can so you can keep going.
And sometimes it's like, well, I don't even
Instead
know.
of reevaluating too much.
I don't even know what the heck I want to do or where I want to go or who I want to become or the things I want to work on. So then we need to simplify it down from there. It's like, okay, sometimes we can make these things so big and insurmountable that the action is inaction, right? And that's not what you want either. And so you need to peel it back into its simplest of forms and formats and say, okay, what do I want? We talk about this all the time. It's like, what do you
Ask
want?
yourself.
Most people are just going through the motions day in and day out, doing the same thing over and over again with no real thought behind it. It's like, how did you get from here to the store? I just drove. I don't even know how the heck I got there, right? Or how did you, and it's like, so in life, people are just putting their life on autopilot and not really giving it that much thought.
Or asking themselves, what do they want?
Right.
Because they're headed just living without any goals or plans because they're just living. But in the back of their head, they do have a little plan that they want to do.
But they're not
not doing anything. Instead, they're just living. And then 4 or 5 years later, they're doing the same thing.
I mean, we can all look back. How long ago, when we're heading into 2020, can you not remember 2018, 2019? I know we all remember 2020, right?
Yes.
That's now years in the rearview mirror, right? Time flies quickly.
So fast.
Time is moving, and it's not waiting for you. It's not saying, well, we'll stop and we'll hold up time so that you can figure it out.
And not for the holidays either.
No, you need to move.
Each time, Thanksgiving, Christmas, you keep it moving nonstop.
Right. And so, can you stop and appreciate? Yes, you can. But you
can
also
enjoy it.
need to look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself the hard question so that you can get the result that's different that you're wanting to get. And so if you're like, well, nothing don't work, nothing don't go, it never goes my way, my boss is this, my spouse is that, my kids do this, my house is that, and it's like, okay, but that's on you, right? And so if you're blaming everybody else for everything, you have no control.
And that's on top of your shoulders. That's on top.
But
you're not even
really,
living.
It's not really on top.
No, but it's fake. It's like you're putting yourself down, and you're not even going to be able to walk with all that pressure and crap
but you're also
in your brain.
Blaming everybody else
Instead
for everything.
of the mirror.
Instead of looking at yourself and saying, what part did I have in this? What actions did I take? How did I act? What did I do? What did I say? What are the actions, right? And so when you can take ownership, then it changes because now you're responsible. So then you can change it. If it's reliant on somebody else or something else, you can't change that. You can't change somebody else as much as you want to. You can change you though, because the thoughts that you think and the actions that you take and the things that you do on a consistent daily basis can change you. And so when you start taking ownership, you actually start getting more power
and more momentum
back to yourself, because you're owning it and saying, I'm fully 100% responsible for me, my actions, my choices, what's going on in the world around me. I'm responsible for that. So what am I doing to change it if I don't like what I'm seeing?
And you have people around you also. By you being more on your path, it'll be able to guide them on their path also and help, especially when you're working together. And you're going to want that. You're going to offer certain things to help. You're going to offer your thoughts. What do I need to do? Offer your help to help the other person be in their lane as well.
Because they're going to see that you're making a shift and you're becoming a different person, and you're no longer in that same area that you've been for, year in and year out. You're elevating from that because you're taking responsibility. You're taking ownership of yourself and your life and your actions. And so people see that. And also you're putting off a different energy, but you're also getting a different result, right? And so because you're taking control of what you can control, which is you cannot control anybody else. You cannot control the outside world. You can't control what people say. You can't control what people do, but you can control what you say and what you do and what you think and what actions you take. And instead of just being, laying there and say, well, this is how it is, it's all coming at me. It's like, no, even in the world as it is right now, some people are playing the victim card. And it's like, well, it's this person's fault, or if it was this, or if it was that, or if a different person was here or there. And it's like, no. We need to silence the noise. We need to let go of the victim mentality. We need to kick off all of the dust and all the clutter and all the crap that you've piled on. Let it all go. Start with a fresh, new, clean slate and say, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is where I'm going. And this is how I'm going to get there. And so then you start moving in that direction.
Even if you have a team working with you, that's going to help. Why? Because once you're focused, you're going to be able to put those focused energies on to the people around you and guide them so they can find themselves and let them know this is the way things have to be. This is what I need from you. This is what I need from you. This is what I need from you. The people who blame other people for their misgivings, their little mistakes, and that person didn't do that. And then that will help everyone around you or on your team be on the same page, know that it's their responsibilities to take care of certain things that you have to do, and then everybody on your team can be a whole.
And this works, for your home. This works for the places that you work, the businesses that you have. This works for, your community, the friendships and relationships that you have, because you're leading by example. You're not asking anyone to do something that you're not doing, right? And so it's very easy to say, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. But if you're not actually doing it yourself, then it's hypocritical, right? Versus you're leading from the front because you are taking the actions. You are doing the things that you need to be doing. So everyone else can see that. And so when you say, okay, we need to change these things, or we need to tweak this, or hey, we can do this differently, then it's like, oh, okay, well, I can see you're already doing these things. So yeah, versus just sitting on the sidelines saying, well, this person needs to do that different. You need to, no, because you now are doing different. You're becoming different because you're working on you. And that's all that you can do is work on you, right? We talked about that a minute ago. It's like, you are responsible for you. Now, if you have a team or a family, then of course you're responsible for them, but their actions that they're taking, they're responsible for themselves as well. And so when we all start looking at being responsible for ourselves, and from us being responsible for ourselves, then we're able to create a ripple effect to those all around us. Then, and leading by example, we're not just talking at people, we're actually getting results in all these different areas and aspects.
Then everybody can work in harmony or live together in harmony. And when you're in harmony, you're going to know this, with your team around or your family also, is that you're going to start creating boundaries for yourself. At home, at work, you're going to have those boundaries. Don't interrupt me between this time. Hun, please don't interrupt me for this time. And then, you're going to start saying, babe, I need help with this so I can take care of what I'm doing. So it's going to work at home, work, anywhere you can.
And this is, again, it's all about you. And so when you start looking inward and you start asking yourself the tough questions and you start having these conversations with yourself, and these don't need to be long, drawn out conversations. It can be, let's look at the last week. What did we do? Okay, did that serve us or not? Did that help us get us closer? No. What about this last month, the last 3 months, 6 months, year, okay? And then you'll start seeing your patterns like, okay, what am I going to do to change that? How am I going to, last year I said I wanted to lose a few pounds. Did you do it? Yes or no? Okay, well, if not, we need a different plan, right? You said that you wanted to work out more. Did you do it? Yes or no? Okay, how long did you do it for? Did you get the results you're looking for? What do we need to tweak and change? You said you wanted to, have a better mindset. Okay, well, evaluate. Do you or don't you, right? It's like very black and white. There's no gray. It's like either you did or you didn't. And then, okay, what are you changing going forward? How are you tweaking that? How are you taking that to the next level? How are you continuing to evolve and grow from there? And that is what makes the difference. And then as your common denominator, like we started at the beginning, you start becoming the common denominator for all the great things that are happening, right? All the results that you're seeing and all the growth that's coming to you. You're now the common denominator of that.
And being more proud of yourself because of it.
And because you're taking ownership.
Yes.
And you're leading by example, right? We get a lot of questions all the time. How do I get my spouse to do this? Or how do I get my kids on board to do that? Or
lead by example.
Like, you do you. You keep leading.
Stay in your lane.
And you just keep showing them the way, and they're going to either get on board or they're not, right? And a lot of times you're going to inspire them because they can see the difference. They can see the growth. They can see the change, and they want to come along. And this is,
because they love you and they want to be with you.
And this is for business. It's people you work with or friendships. Some of them are going to fall off. That's okay. But you're going to have those that are going to be gravitating towards you because now you're raising yourself up, and other people are going to raise up with you. And that's the whole point of changing and growing. You do it for yourself, but then after a while, you're doing it so that you can help other people along that path as well.
And then your circle will grow.
Yeah, and your circle will become a circle that serves on multiple levels, that you're able to serve them, they're able to serve you, and it starts becoming this collaboration and a community of growth and change and winning and success.
And the right people will be there because the people that fell off didn't want to make any changes.
Yep.
They just wanted that paycheck, or they just wanted to come by and eat all your food all the time, or whatever it is at home.
Or just someone to have a sounding board where they can just throw up on all the time,
day
right?
and night.
And it's so you gotta know where's your energy vampires, where are they at? Cut them out. Focus on what you can do for yourself.
You can still say hello when they reach out, then that's it.
But then guess what? The more you do you and they're continuing to remain the way they are without any change, the distance is going to grow further and further.
And that's okay.
I can speak on that from personal experience. It's like, when you're no longer the person that they need to be able to call and talk and vent, and it's like, no, here's a boundary. Relationship is a two-way. We've got to have the give and the take. There's got to be something in it for everybody in that, and we've got to be able to push and level up and not just constantly spew shit.
Yes.
And when you put that boundary in it, and so they can't call for that anymore, but that's the only reason they call, or the only reason they reach out, or the only reason they come by. It's like that happens few and far between, and then you start change, and they start going one way, and you start going the other. That's the whole point of when you're growing, people make a decision whether they want to grow with you or not.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Having your circle around you that cares about your boundaries and what you're doing for your life.
And sometimes it can be hard to find those people. And that's why we have the Can Do community available, so that you can be around like-minded people.
Yes.
You can be around other men and women and husbands and wives and mothers and fathers and people that are families that are really looking to level up, and families that are looking to do better
and who care about life.
And for themselves and for their children.
Yes, who care about anybody around their circle to reach out to and give their hopes and dreams to and talk about, and sounding boards, ask a couple questions about this. Is this a good idea? Is that a bad idea? And should I stay away from that?
And someone who can cheer you on but also call you out on your shit, right? And from love.
Calling you out.
From a place of love, right? Because it's like, you said you wanted to do this, but you're over here doing this, so what's going on here, right?
Without getting upset that somebody actually told you to do something.
Well, when you're in a community of people who are growing and people who are being honest and authentic, it's like
just take it in.
There isn't a place to, get butthurt over it.
No.
You might be ticked off for a second, but guess what? Then you're like, I asked for this. I wanted this. This is what I was looking for. And so you continue to
learn
move
to
forward.
accept it.
And so, we would love for you to become a part of the Can Do community. So make sure you check that out. It's there, it's growing, and we want it to continue to grow and evolve into something even bigger than us.
Right, be a part of the family.
Yeah. So we look forward to talking to you guys again on the next conversation. Make sure you keep your questions coming in. We love answering those questions for you. We sometimes we get some duplicates and some of the same, and so we know a lot of times if one person's asking a question, there's other similar questions to that. So send those in to us so we can get those answered on the next Q&A episode. And make sure you guys just look at yourself
and share
this out with those that you love and that you care about, that you want to join this journey with you. And until next time, guys, we love you. We'll talk to you soon. Remember, we can do it, and so can you. Bye, guys.
Bye.